watch it, go watch it. But we talked about the worthiness cycle and how when moms put themselves last, what's actually happening. What beliefs are at play there, why they do that. Why Christian moms think that putting themselves last is super noble and it's Christ-like and all these things, and yet it perpetuates a feeling of worthlessness. And today we're going to talk about these Christian women, and I was there. This is full on like me breaking down my past self and my ideal person that I love to work with. The people I can serve at this mini course are Christian women that are doing it all. They have great intent. They have great intentions. I'm going to care for my family. I'm going to care for the community. I'm going to uphold my spouse. They are doing all the things. And I have coined the phrase, I guess you could say, the Superwoman belief plague. Okay? Because that's just what it is. Now, as a Christian woman, these are some of the things that we've been told. This is very common. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances. This doesn't apply to everyone. If you're watching this mini-series, you're here because something I said resonated with you. You wanted to hear this. This is more than likely your situation. That men support us with money and love. We support them by doing everything else. This is a really old tradition. Old, like back to the days of Father Abraham, where that was culturally the accepted thing. And I say culturally. Culturally in the world, men did this thing and women did this thing. Guys, we're talking like 8,000 years ago. Like, this is so long. Yet, cultural traditions have a hard time dying. Motherhood is our highest reason for living. And I'm not negating some of the principles of this, but these are like, people have taken these traditional situations as doctrine. I invite you to go and read your Bibles and read Jesus' words. Tell me where he says that a female person is created to have babies. It's very interesting when you get down to the nitty-gritty. The state of your home reflects your value as a woman. Think about your Christian cultures. Like I said, these ideas can be shocking. Have an open mind here. Lean in with the idea that you're here to expand. Because I know these ideas can sometimes be like, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say here? I was there, my friend. I was there. Saying yes to serving means I will get blessings. It means I'm leaning to godliness. If I say yes to serving in my church and giving a meal over here, like every time I say yes, that equals blessings. And I say it like this because there's a whole can of worms about the understanding of blessings. Conflict is shameful. It's wrong. Having conflict with my spouse, having conflict with my children, having conflict with my neighbor, having conflict in my life, in my own self, is bad. Like, it's actually moral. If I have conflict in my life, this is a moral issue. Confidence can mimic pridefulness. A lot of these things, like I said, may be like, how did you even come to this? Like, we're going to get there. There's a lot of content in this short training, so we're just going to kind of bust through. So what we're going to break down in the next few minutes is this Superwoman belief plague. The things that you've been doing that may be part of Christian tradition or culture, but they aren't actually doctrine. And these things are actually holding you hostage to the freedom that Jesus taught that we can have. He said you can have all things. You can have joy. He says, my yoke is easy. He says, my peace is something you can have all the time. And it's very interesting how many Christian women do not have that in their life. And they are devout, they're very pious. So it only has led me to this conclusion that maybe there are some things that we are not fully understanding about what culture and tradition have been teaching us. We're also going to learn about how to have more energy, more brain space to create this good life that you guys want. This is why you're here. How to ditch the guilt when you choose you, and why this matters to your children and how they turn out. If you have grown children, this can go to your grandchildren. Like it always matters. A woman's influence is incredibly, incredibly strong. So this is what you're experiencing. You feel the desire to change things. This is our human experience being prompted maybe by God, prompted by an inspirational video, something that our gut said, I think there's something for you. There's a little more for you here. There's something you want to learn. You feel a desire to change. So you pray, you ask for help. Maybe you got a coach. Maybe you joined a program. You got a mentor. Maybe you got this specific job and you're working on it. Maybe you went and took a class and you're going to teach a herb class in your community. Maybe you just you're looking up resources to make more healthy meals for your family. Maybe you have a weight loss goal or something, and so you're getting help, right? You get inspired, you get ideas. It starts to feel so good. Like in day one, we talked about moms lacking this intellectual growth. She will often, and this might be you, often feel, I'm not getting what I need more, and they just crave knowledge and crave more books, more classes, and all these things, right? You feel alive. You're starting to feel like I'm doing something. Maybe I feel purpose again, right? I found my spark. Have you ever used this language? Then you make a plan. You're like, okay, this is what the lady said. You take some risks. You maybe do something you've never done in your daily routine. Maybe you started exercising. Maybe you got a gym membership. Maybe you paid for that menu service. Something you've never done before. And it feels kind of risky because it's outside your norm, right? You set some goals and things start to change. Things start to change. You can feel it. And you're like, oh, things are changing. And then you might need to ask for some permission. You feel like you have to ask for permission. Maybe your spouse has to stay home one night for you to go teach that class. Maybe the community gets to help carpool your kids. And you ask for permission, very much saying things like, would you please do this? I'm really trying to do this thing. And I'm just, you're very apologetic. It triggers old patterns of emotional instability, lack of support. You feel like maybe I'm not very supported in this. You have a perpetual worthlessness. Remember, we talked about that in day one, where that comes from. I'm worth less than all these other variables. And when you run into that, because things are changing, your timeline is now changed, your food is now changed, I don't know, some stuff is changing, you start to doubt. Oh, I don't know about this. Your self-belief starts to dwindle. You decide, you know what, this was too much. You're right. This wasn't right. This must be a sign that this wasn't the right time. The way it was easier. We'll just go back. I'm causing upheaval in my family. I'm causing upheaval in my relationships. It's my fault. The things that I want don't matter. The things that I want can't be done. I'll just settle. I'll just go back. But then, after a while, inevitably, you feel the desire to change things again. You see this cycle? So you woke up today and said, to be a good mom, I am going to do all the things. I'm going to do all the things. because that's what good moms do. They do all the things. And we just have these roles, and here's what's happening. Because you want to be a good mom and do all the things, you cancel your yoga class because your kid forgot their homework. You overextend the budget because Susie had a baby and needs a meal. Oh, and I got to do that for my blessings, right? You worry about what your mother-in-law will think about the dessert you're bringing on Sunday dinner. You're thinking about it already, and it's maybe Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and you're worried. You're already worried about, what am I going to take to dinner on Sunday, this dessert. You pushed off an important goal because your husband had a hard day at work. So what you had to going doesn't matter as much. These are very real things that I see all the time, and I used to do this. I know this very well. I know you very well. So what beliefs are at play here? Why do you do that? Why do you cancel the yoga class because your kid forgot their homework? Because remember yesterday we talked about how you think your kid will have less pain if you show up in this big way. My kid is grateful that I'm keeping him from pain. This is what belief you're living on in here. I'm a good mom. I overextended the budget because Susie needed a meal. I give until I have nothing left. This is noble. Okay? It feels noble to give until it hurts. I worry about what my mother-in-law will think about the dessert that you're bringing to Sunday dinner. Taking people's feelings into consideration is polite, so I will please others to keep the peace. Are you guys seeing this fall here? These next few slides are going to probably explode your mind a little bit. You pushed off the important goal because the hubby had a hard day. Putting myself last is Christ-like. This is a good thing. We talked about that in day 1, where that comes from. Okay, this just keeps getting deeper, so just stick with me here. Okay, if you need to take a screenshot to see this process, but you'll get the recording as well. You can watch this again. What those beliefs perpetuate, so this idea that my kid is grateful, I'm keeping him from pain, I'm a good mom, that stems from this idea that good moms do all the things, says being a good mom means never doing what I want. It's mom's fault if my kid is struggling. Struggles are not good for my child. Right? Do you see the connection? I'm so grateful I'm keeping my kid from pain. I'm a good mom. The struggles are not good for your child? Think about that. Struggles are good for everybody. And it is not your fault if your kid forgets his laptop. It is not your fault if your child is getting straight Fs. Being a good mom means never doing what I want. These are the things that perpetuate when you live in this belief. How about this one? Giving until I have nothing left is noble. Overextending my budget again shows me I never have enough. I am never enough. You can see how this could touch not just your budget, but your own health, your own energy. I have had many clients over the years that they give and give and give and give, and they have some of the most deep limiting beliefs about them being enough. Enough for the glory of God, enough for the grace of God, enough to be loved unconditionally. What about this one? Taking people's feelings into consideration is polite. I'm going to just please others to just keep the peace. So when I go to Sunday dinner, I'm going to think of all the things my mother-in-law would like, and that's what I'll do instead of what I would love to bring, what my kids will actually eat, right? This lends to the belief perpetuated that I'm responsible for the feelings of others. We are not responsible for the feelings of others, my friend. Their experience is their own. Whatever they're experiencing is a reflection of their belief systems. This is a very dangerous belief. Because this is why, not the only reason, but there's so much that goes into a child that's taught they're responsible for the feelings of others. When a mom says, "You make me angry. You got up last night, so now you made me tired." My friend, you are responsible for how you feel. It is your choice. And when that child feels like they are responsible for an adult's feelings, number one, it doesn't make sense to them. Children have a very beautiful, virtuous pureness about them that they know, and they'll fight that. They will fight against it. They will throw fits. They will be like, "This isn't fair," because inside them, they are more pure than us at that point. They know how ridiculous that is to be like, "I can choose. Jesus said I could choose." And they are right. They choose how they feel. We are not responsible for the feelings of other people. And yet this action lends to the belief that this is true. Putting myself last is Christ-like. When I put everybody out here, this lends to the idea that you think Christ didn't prioritize his needs or mission. If you think not prioritizing yourself is Christ-like, then you must believe that Christ didn't put his mission as a priority. And I know a lot of you watching this, because when this was pointed out to me, I was like, I don't believe that. What the heck? I realized how cultural this was, traditional this was. I was like, oh, anybody's mind-blowing? Anybody's mind-blowing? Like, it's just like, putting all this together really blew me away. So how does this show up down the line? So when you say, this is your belief, this is what you're modeling, being a good mom means never doing what I want. It's mom's fault if my kid struggles aren't good for my kid. This is what it creates. Dependent children who lack experience taking responsibility, and they live in entitlement. Anybody know kids like that? My kids have had their own struggles with going from a mom that did this to not doing this. Like, I've seen it, having kids across a spread of, 12, 15 years. I've seen the kids that I raised this way and the kids that I didn't, and it's been very interesting. The hope is that it can be changed, because here we are all changing, right? This one, I sacrifice what I need for others. I'm not worth as much as others. Overextending my budget shows me I never have enough. I'm never enough. This is what it creates. That I have to sacrifice what I need for the needs of others. I'm not worth as much as others, and this leads to self-esteem issues. Deep self-esteem issues. When you say I'm responsible for the feelings of other people, this is what happens. Hypervigilance. We're always worried about what someone's thinking. We feel like we're on display. We're always worried about what other people think. We're afraid. Judgments. We start judging other people. We feel like we're being judged highly when we feel like we're responsible for how people feel. This one, that Christ didn't prioritize his needs or mission. It leads to this idea that there's a misguided need to be a martyr just like Jesus Christ. Like we are going to lose, have to go to the point of dying, and not having a life for the sake of being a Christian. This leads to resentment toward Christianity. Are we seeing that in the world? Very interesting, right? That it's starting in the home from the moms and other people. But in our circle, and for the purpose of this video, this is where we are. So this is a cycle. This is a cycle that goes around when this superwoman life is permeating your life. Because when you have children that are dependent on you for everything, they don't know how to take responsibility, they feel like they should just be taken care of because that's what mom shows us, you will have endless fatigue. So this is where this energy promise comes in. When you end this, your energy goes up. When you're not worried about being judged, when you're not worried about taking responsibility for people, when you're not worried about your kids so much anymore, you're not taking their failure or success onto you, your energy will go up. It's not always a nutrition conversation. It's not always adrenal fatigue. It can be what you are believing about what you're responsible for. Doing it all. Taking responsibility for it all. You will have endless fatigue if this is your cycle of life. You will have endless guilt, endless shame. When you're continually sacrificing what you need, you will never feel like a good mom. More guilt. Guilt for existing. Feeling small. Feeling like you should be small. That if you try to go big, that's actually rude. This is a thing that I see a lot, you guys. Hypervigilance and always being worried, right? You feel like your kids are going to judge you. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of yelling, a lack of real connection. You're not a safe place for yourself. Are you safe inside yourself? This idea that you need to be a martyr, this perpetuation of untruths around Christian doctrine creates faith doubt. This is how this begins. This is one piece of it anyway. Just from that one act of putting yourself last can create doubts within your faith. So as a result of being the mom that does it all, you never feel like you're enough. You consistently perpetuate the idea that I am worthless. Kids run your life. I hear that all the time. My kids run my life. I don't know how. My kids are on top of me. My kids, right? This is totally no boundaries. You have not set any boundaries up for these children to take full responsibility. They are dependent on you for everything, and you don't know how to get out of it. A spouse who feels wary of your ideas and needs because you keep putting him out here and you're needy and you're emotional and you have all these issues because you won't live your life and claim your agency to choose your life. Confusion on what you should be doing because all this guilt and shame keeps coming. It's like, how can I get rid of this? I don't know what to pick. I don't know what the right thing is because it doesn't feel good. It all feels, I'm in confusion about this. So, we've broken down some of the stuff we've been doing that's holding us hostage from feeling freedom and joy. We've talked about how you can have more energy and brain space to live a good life if we can let go of these belief systems. How to ditch the guilt. Because if your kid is taking responsibility for their life, you don't feel guilty about that. You support them through it. Right? When you choose you and you actually live your life, people go, oh, there's a human living her life. And you just live. And you can just take that full responsibility for your life, modeling that, because that matters to how your kids are turning out. So, if you're like, well, what beliefs then do I need? Guys, this is the magic slide. Take a screenshot if you need it. We go deeper into this on the bonus training of the elevation process. But when you're experiencing dependent children who lack taking responsibility and they have entitlement, you need boundaries. You get to learn about boundaries. You get to learn how to let your kids fail. You need to learn to be proud of what your kids do on their own. Energy for physical needs. Guys, you're going to be able to have so much more energy for what you need. Instead of this, we're going to have boundaries with intention, aligned with living in faith instead of fear. Financial abundance will be yours. Confidence all around when we get rid of this. When this ends, we no longer are taking responsibility for everybody else. We can become a safe place for ourselves. Your kids, you will have no doubt that they love you. You'll have no doubt that you're the best mom ever. You will have more compassion. You will be able to experience and give, so give and receive unconditional love, which will start the path of emotional abundance. When you start getting rid of this, and living your mission full out, you will start speaking the truth. You will have spiritual abundance, strong faith, a feeling of freedom, a feeling of peace. Guys, one changed mom changes generations. If you believe at all in generational cycles or energy, one changed mom changes many generations. The lack, the fatigue, this confusion, it can end with you.